Now, I bet you didn't know there's almost two different forms of strata. There's a stratum. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you the difference.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes, episode 537. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak. We're talking about strata, stratums, company title, many people don't know there are many different structures of buying a property. Most people just look at it going, it's either a house or an apartment, and an apartment means strata, and I pay money each quarter. I don't own it all. And that's sort of the extent of most people's knowledge. But there are a lot of different structures behind. There's a lot of clicking on your end. There's a lot of other structures as well, where you've got strata, then there's stratum, then there's also a company title. So this morning, Mark and I will run through a couple of them. Morning, Mark.
Oh, you threw in company title at the end.
Yeah, the article we found has company, so we'll chuck it in there.
Shit. Look, guys and girls, strata, stratum, and company title. The real interesting one that really, I guess, an advanced investor or if you're living in blocks would realise is their stratum. The reason stratum was mostly invented was for horizontal subdivisions with shared space. So what that means is basically, should we unpack what strata is, Burge, first before we unpack stratum?
Yes, I've got a good. Let me. With a strata title, it is possible to subdivide the airspace above an area of the land. For example, a flat or a unit on a second or third, fourth floor in the block of flats. This title gives the sole right to a particular unit as well as the space enclosed by it. Therefore, the owner may lease, sell, or legally dispose of their unit in the same way as other freehold property owners. Each owner also has the undivided share of the land, which is common to all units, like common property, a courtyard, a garden, all that stuff as well. And then it's like all owners are part of a body corporate. So that's what a strata is.
All right, can I put in kindergarten terms?
Normal terms?
Yes. So basically what a strata is, ladies and gentlemen, is when you have a house and you say, I want to put 3 on this block, and they have a shared zone. So generally a shared zone would be maybe a driveway that they all share to get into their garages. Or that may be a shared zone like a staircase to get into all of the units. You may choose, or you may have to choose, to say, okay, look, I can't achieve a Torrens title, which is your normal house title. There's shared zones here, we need to allocate them. So we're going to have 3 allocations for each owner, which is going to be to the airspace of their townhouse, in that example, or townhouse. And then we're going to have 1 allocation to common area. And then those 3 owners are going to share that allocation in the common area. In essence, that's strata, and in essence, that's probably the way we strata properties is one of the leading ways in the world. Where it gets complicated is when we arch over to stratum, which is bigger buildings, and that's when people want to start subdividing in a horizontal manner.
Yeah, I think Michelle thinks the noise is coming from my end, but anyway, I was just having it on not. Anyway, cool. So, and then also, a lot of people, we always get a bit of pushback Yeah, I think it is my end, my audio. It's bad.
I can't hear any noise. How are you guys? Can everyone hear Bert? Just give us a thumbs up if you've got a clear noise
I
seems to
think,
be coming from in. Yeah, Michelle's saying.
yeah, I think it's anyway. So it gets really bad for Strata when there's a lot of tenancies. Like, use an example of 3 owners, 4 owners getting together. People don't think, oh, that's going to be fine. But when you're thinking 20, 30, 50 owners, then people's ears prick up and like, oh, there's chance for a disagreement here. Not to mention if you chuck in the commercial. Do you do most of the talking, Mark? Because it is pretty bad.
Yeah, so with bigger buildings, so I'll give you an example, guys and girls. With bigger buildings, you get like we have Meriton and DY, and people are a little bit reluctant to buy. Were a bit reluctant to buy in a bigger building because that has 360 units, and to make it even more to be even more reluctant, there's a big commercial precinct in there. So that had, I think, about a massive Woolies and about 15 specialty shops, cafes, and stuff like that, restaurants, whatever they may be. Now, people are saying, look, I don't want to be in a big building and then throw Strata into that, throw a commercial car park into that. That's a bit scary. I don't want to pay Strata levies for the commercial guys. And furthermore, I don't want to have their problems because we've got enough problems being a block of 360. So, Stratum, Stratum, was developed for that purpose, where you're creating 2 strata schemes. Believe it or not, you can have 2 separate strata managers. There's 2 separate strata meetings. It's called Stratum. So then the commercial guys, and particularly, say Harry Triggerboff owns those 12, 15 restaurants and shops. He doesn't have to worry about any of the residential guys meddling in his business, and the residential guys don't have to worry about him meddling in their business in the 360 units because it's a stratum subdivision. So it's quite clever. So you can imagine the incoming purchaser for Harry's property. If he sells it, they've got their own little strata scheme running. It's nice and tidy and portable, and they have their own interests at heart because they're all commercial. And then the residential people in the other stratum have their own interest at heart because they're all residential.
I think that's so much better because it just moves along. Like, as you said, their own interests at heart, but they also know each other's stuff. Like, trying to get a residential owner of an apartment to understand the requirements needed for a grease trap flow or an exhaust or the waste management of downstairs, it can be a bit of a nightmare, especially if you get a party who really loves detail and needs everything, all I's dotted, T's crossed, and an action plan. And sometimes the commercial can be a little bit like, why do you, like, it doesn't even affect you. Why do you want us to write a business analysis of moving the rubbish? Like, stick to your lane, we stick to our lane, and vice versa with the residential as well. You know, someone wants to do stuff with upstairs, and then the commercial guys are like, oh, but how's that going to affect me? And I think it's good that both parties work on with their own interests. So we find that's very common, and it makes the rates a bit more realistic as well. Sometimes the commercial, like, I'm not paying for the lift, but I am paying for a goods lift, vice versa, and their own waste.
That's true. And you know what, Michael, if anyone knows the DY Meriton, one would say, why don't you have Tower A separate strata? I didn't say stratum, a separate strata to Tower B. And the reason Tower A would not be able to have a separate strata to Tower B is because they've got a shared car park downstairs.
Yes.
And that is a reason, again, where Stratum comes into place. Like, I know, for instance, sometimes vertical towers do them. So if you're a 50-story tower, they'll strata off the penthouse, 12 stories of penthouses, separate to the commercial, separate to the balance of the residential.
I think we'll wrap it up, as Sean says. Too much sound distraction. Catch you next time. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
See
Sorry
ya.
about the sound.
Sorry, bye.